She confessed to her friend about sleeping with him for money. Then we caught it. I never thought I'd find myself in a situation where my wife would feel like she had to sleep with me just to keep the money flowing her way. She said that to her friend, totally unaware that our security camera had recorded every single word. I didn't blow up, didn't yell or demand answers. I just forwarded the footage straight to our family lawyer. She figured it out soon enough. I could tell by the look on her face when she got served. Right there, in front of everyone, at her parents' anniversary celebration, divorce papers handed over like a party favor. She hasn't stopped blowing up my phone since that day. But before I dive into all that, let me say this. I've noticed the channel's been slowing down a bit lately. If you're here and you like these stories, hitting that subscribe button is the easiest way to show support. It's fast, it's free, and it really helps keep this community growing strong. It's wild how 15 years of marriage can just vanish. Gone in the span of a 20-second conversation she didn't think anyone would hear. One moment, you believe you're a happily married man with the life you busted your ass to build, and the next, you realize you're nothing more than a walking bank account. I've changed names for obvious reasons. You can call me Ethan. I'm 47, and I run a commercial construction company that I started from the ground up more than 2 decades ago. My wife, or I guess soon-to-be ex, Claire, she's 45. She hasn't held a job since before we tied the knot. We've got 2 kids, Ava, our 19-year-old daughter who's off at college, and Logan, 17, finishing up high school. When I first met Claire, she was working as a paralegal, full of ambition and drive. After we got married, she told me she wanted to focus on being a stay-at-home mom, and eventually, she became what she called a household manager. I stood by her decision. We had the means, and I wanted her to be happy with her role in our family. About 2 months ago, I was in my home office going through some security footage from our camera system. It's not something I usually bother with, but we'd had a package swiped from the front porch, and I figured I'd check if the cameras caught the thief. I ended up reviewing the kitchen feed and happened to catch Claire and her friend Natalie sitting at the island, sipping wine. Claire was talking about some upcoming vacation. She said, "This trip is going to be amazing. Ethan thinks it's next month, but I pushed it back to September." She told Natalie she blamed the weather as her excuse, but in reality, she wanted more time at the spa first. Natalie joked about needing to get all glammed up for the beach, saying Ethan would appreciate the effort. Then Claire dropped a line that stopped me cold. "Please. I can't believe I have to sleep with him just to keep getting his money." She went on about how draining it was keeping up the act. Said we hadn't slept together in 3 months until just last week. And when I brought up wanting to reconnect, she said she felt obligated and practically gagged through the whole thing. Natalie's eyes went wide. "Claire, that's cold." But Claire just shrugged and said, "It's business. I've invested 15 years in this setup. Just 3 more to go until Logan graduates. Then I cash out." She knew exactly when the prenup expired, on our 20th wedding anniversary. And what came after that? A clean break. Divorce. She took a sip of wine and said it so casually. "Exactly." Told Natalie she already had multiple hidden accounts, stashed away with money I didn't even know she was skimming. Apparently, she'd been sneaking funds out for years. Once the prenup ends, she plans to take half my company, half the properties, and the house. She said I could keep the boat and my pride, like that was supposed to be some kind of consolation. Natalie looked uncomfortable and asked, "Does he suspect anything, Ethan?" Claire laughed. "God, no. He's too wrapped up in his company and playing provider to notice a thing. It's honestly pathetic how easy he is to manipulate." She gave an example, said she'd casually mentioned admiring Olivia's diamond bracelet, and wouldn't you know it? The next morning, the same bracelet magically appeared on her nightstand. She smirked and said, "Men are so simple." They both laughed. Then their conversation drifted to plans for an upcoming spa day. Meanwhile, I just sat there, frozen, staring at the screen long after they left the room. 15 years of marriage, just a transaction. The mother of my kids talking like our entire relationship was nothing more than a long-term investment she was about to cash in. I didn't yell, didn't smash anything, didn't storm into the kitchen and confront her. Instead, I backed up the video and saved it securely in the cloud, shut my laptop, and went upstairs to take a shower. I needed time to think. Claire and I had signed a prenuptial agreement before the wedding, something her attorney was adamant about including. At the time, I didn't mind. I honestly believed we'd be together forever, young, dumb, and in love. The prenup spelled out clear terms around honesty, asset transparency, and fidelity. There was even a clause that stated if either of us hid money or acted in bad faith toward the other's finances, it would count as a violation. Our prenup didn't just cover cheating. It specifically included financial betrayal as a breach. That video wasn't just damning from a moral standpoint. It was concrete, legal evidence that Claire was breaking the terms we agreed to. That very night, I kissed her goodbye as she headed out to her so-called book club, which I now knew was a front for something else entirely. Right then, I started making calls. First, I reached out to Derek Collins, my personal lawyer who had drawn up the prenup. I explained everything, sent him the footage, and asked what my options were. Next, I contacted David Park, the CFO of my company and the one person I trusted most with the numbers. I asked him to launch a full audit of every personal and business account Claire might have access to, directly or through other means. Finally, I got in touch with Marcus Hayes, a private investigator Derek recommended. His specialty was digging up hidden assets and conducting surveillance. For 6 weeks after, I felt like I was living 2 separate lives at once. To everyone else, I was still Ethan, the attentive husband, dedicated dad, and hardworking CEO. I brought Claire flowers, took her out shopping, and made love to her, even though every moment I was fighting back my disgust, knowing she was practically gagging too. I talked up business wins, left financial reports in plain sight, and painted a picture of growing wealth to keep her thinking she had no reason to suspect a thing. All the while, I was quietly unraveling her from my future. What I found was worse than I ever imagined. Claire's multiple accounts turned out to be 3 separate bank accounts spread across 2 banks, holding just over $440,000. Every penny had been moved in small amounts from our joint account over the years, money that had already been taxed as business income and then handed over to Claire for household expenses. The investigator traced these transfers, cross-checking them with her tax filings, which revealed she had not reported the interest income she earned on these accounts. Her book club wasn't a cover for some affair. It was a monthly meeting with divorce attorney Laura Bennett, who was known for being ruthless with wealthy husbands. Claire had been seeing her for over a year without me knowing a thing. Even more disturbing, we discovered she had installed spyware on my home office computer and planted a recording device inside my desk drawer. This equipment had been capturing private conversations I had with business partners about company valuations and upcoming deals in our state. Recording conversations without everyone's consent is illegal here. We found the software during a security audit of my system, and the physical bug was uncovered in a sweep of my office, done discreetly while Claire was at the spa. Thanks to the company's success, we lived comfortably, though never extravagantly. Our home was worth about $1.8 million, and we owned investment properties that brought in steady income. My company itself was valued at roughly $16 million. Claire was plotting to grab nearly $9 million in assets, plus ongoing support payments. But she made critical mistakes. First, she talked about her plans in places where she could be recorded. Second, she hid assets, which clearly broke the state's financial disclosure laws and violated our prenup. Third, she illegally recorded confidential business conversations, something that's a criminal offense in this jurisdiction. Working closely with Derek, I laid out a plan. We would hold back, keep collecting evidence, and strike when she least expected it. I made sure Claire believed her scheme was foolproof. I even suggested we celebrate our 15th anniversary in style, maybe at her parents' upcoming 40th anniversary party. She loved the idea. The party was booked at their country club, a fancy event with about 120 guests. I'd already cleared with club management that legal papers could be served there since it was a private venue open to the public. No laws would block service. I also arranged for my attorney and the process server to have the proper credentials, working through Claire's father under the guise of ensuring security for the guests. Claire spent thousands on a new dress, professional hair, and makeup. She looked radiant when we arrived, playing the perfect wife and daughter-in-law. My gift to her parents was a lavish surprise, a fully paid Mediterranean cruise. They were overwhelmed, hugging me and calling me the son they never had. Claire soaked up every bit of the reflected glory, basking in the spotlight of her successful husband's generosity. At exactly 8:30 p.m., just as dinner was being served, my lawyer Laura Grant, who was on my side, not Claire's, walked into the private dining room with the process server in tow. They paused at the entrance, scanning the room. I excused myself to use the restroom, but really met them at the door. "She's in the blue dress at the center table," I whispered, then stepped aside. I watched from near the bar as they approached. Claire's face shifted from confusion to shock, then pure horror as she was handed divorce papers, financial injunctions, and notices of criminal complaints in front of her entire family and social circle. Her dad, a retired judge, immediately knew what was going on. I saw him take the papers, skim through them quickly, then look up at Claire with pure heartbreak in his eyes. Her mom started crying right then. I didn't stick around to watch the whole breakdown. I just gave Laura a nod, grabbed my coat, and walked out. Claire's carefully maintained image, the devoted wife, mother, and daughter, was shattered in an instant, replaced by the harsh truth of who she really was. Before I even made it to my car, my phone was blowing up. Calls from Claire, then her father, then Claire again. I shut it off, checked into a hotel I'd booked earlier, popped open a bottle of scotch, and finally let myself feel the crushing grief of losing the life I thought I had. The next morning, I powered my phone back on. There were 47 missed calls and dozens of texts from Claire. "Please call me. This is a misunderstanding. You're ruining our family over nothing. Think about the kids." Her dad had called twice, her mom 5 times. I only replied to them, sending a short message: "Check your email. I've sent the video and proof of the hidden accounts and recording devices. Ask Claire about her plans for your son." Of course, they never did. The legal fight was fast and decisive. Claire's secret accounts were frozen immediately. Her lawyer dropped the case after seeing the evidence of illegal recordings and spying. The prenup's financial fidelity clause was triggered by her deliberate hiding of assets and bad faith actions against my interests, just like the contract said it would be. Claire threw everything she had at me, tearful apologies, angry accusations, even trying to turn the kids against me. But I was ready for all of it. The night before serving her papers, I sat down with Logan and showed him a carefully edited version of the video, one that included her financial scheming but left out the cruel sexual comments. Ava flew home from college for the same talk. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but they deserved the truth before the chaos started. Both kids took my side, devastated by their mom's cold betrayal. Logan asked if he could live with me full-time. Ava refused to speak to Claire for weeks. The divorce was finalized faster than anyone expected. Claire received a settlement that was about 1/8 of what she would have gotten if the prenup hadn't been broken, nowhere near half after 20 years. No alimony, reduced child support since Logan chose to live with me, and none of my business interests. She had to sell her share of our investment properties just to cover her legal bills. The secret bank accounts were ruled marital assets gained through deception and split accordingly, with penalties deducted from her portion for hiding them. She kept her car, her jewelry, and personal belongings. I kept the house, my company, and most importantly, my dignity. It's been 6 months since that night at the country club. Claire moved into a small condo and, ironically, had to take a job as a paralegal at a law firm. She's still calling me, but less and less. The last message I got from her was about talking through reconciliation for the sake of the family. I didn't reply. Some betrayals just can't be fixed. Some wounds don't heal. Finding out your 15-year marriage was just a long con changes you forever. Last week, I had dinner with Logan and Ava. My son is thriving in his senior year and has already been accepted to his first-choice college. My daughter is doing well too, despite everything that's happened. They've both started talking to their mom again, cautiously. I encourage it. She's still their mother, no matter what else she is. As for me, I sold the house. Too many memories there. I bought a smaller place closer to my office. I'm dating casually now, nothing serious. My company is growing faster than ever. Now that I'm fully focused, no longer distracted by pretending in a sham marriage, I sometimes wonder if Claire ever really loved me or if it was always just about the money. But it doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I found out the truth before year 20, before she could cash in on half of everything I've worked for. The strangest thing is, I'm happier now than I've been in years. There's a kind of freedom that comes with having the illusion ripped away and no longer performing for someone who only ever saw you as an ATM, not a husband. When people ask if I'm bitter about what happened, I tell them the truth. Gratitude has replaced anger. I'm thankful for that stolen package, the one that made me check the security footage and uncover everything. Grateful for those 20 seconds of brutal honesty that saved me 5 more years of lies. And on the darkest days, I remind myself, it's better to be alone than with someone who has to gag just to be with you. Edit. Wow, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the awards and support. Since a lot of you have been asking similar questions, here are some answers. 1. Yes, I was able to legally record Claire inside our home. Our state has clear laws about home security systems. We had visible cameras with posted notices all around the house, and Claire was fully aware they were there. There's no expectation of privacy in common areas of your own home when cameras are clearly disclosed. 2. Many asked why I didn't just quietly divorce her without the public scene. Simple. Claire had been building a public image for years. If I'd handled this quietly, she would have controlled the narrative, painted herself as the victim, and possibly turned people, including our kids, against me. Making it public ensured the truth was known immediately, without question. 3. For those saying I was harsh serving her at her parents' party, it was a calculated move. Her parents had been pressuring me to set Claire up for the future, and I strongly suspected they were aware of her plans. The video I sent them confirmed it. Her mother's texts afterward included, "We never thought you would find out." Rather than shock or confusion about Claire's behavior, they now fully understand the financial betrayal, especially concerning the kids. Logan, 17, saw the carefully edited video focused on her financial plans. Ava wasn't shown the sexual comments at all. I described those instead. They didn't need that extra pain on top of everything else. My kids have always been my priority, and despite everything, I never speak poorly of their mother to them. 5. About how we found her secret accounts. The investigator traced transfers from our joint accounts and cross-checked her tax returns, which revealed unreported interest income. Claire's own statement about multiple accounts gave us the starting point, and the investigation uncovered the rest. 6. For those calling me cold-blooded. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Claire revealed her true self during that kitchen conversation. Everything that followed was just me accepting her for who she was and acting accordingly. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about hurting someone else. It's about refusing to be hurt anymore.